Okay, so I started writing when I was in junior high, but they were love poems. So that was started there. And of course, and then it didn't work out very well. It went kind of dark. But since high school, I've been writing poems that has to do with Chicano themes or indigenous people themes. Food. I do a lot of poetry about food. And of course, a lot of speculative poetry. Speculative poetry is basically horror, science fiction, comic books. I learned to read. I learned to read English from reading the comic books. Batman was the first actual word. So, and then of course, I talk about my experiences. I was a migrant worker. Like I said, I learned Spanish. I learned English in the second grade, but I was a migrant worker, and we spent a lot of time in onion fields. So a lot of poems are based on your life. I mean, you write what you know, and that's basically what I've been doing. So, yeah. Okay, so I used to not. I just let it happen, and then eventually I started keeping journals, and I would write a thought down or something like that if it occurred to me at the time, and then eventually I go back to it and work on it, like I'm doing now, and eventually I got to look instead of writing just random poems where it's you couldn't tell how long they were gonna be or how short. Then I started getting the forms. I started writing sonnets and I converted them to zombie sonnets, haiku, and did that with that and quatrain. So I started getting forms as I got a little bit older and more into it. I started getting into forms like that. So it was a gradual thing, and I didn't take any classes, no specific classes in college for poetry or anything like that. So a lot of it was self-taught and learning and reading others and listening to others and see what would work for me and reading stuff out loud in that way. So there is a process now. There wasn't before. I noticed that a lot of my work has to do with morals, right? Especially my heart actually has morals in it compared to my Chicano poetry, which is trying to point out a thing. Hey, we're people too. These are the things that are happening to us, and you might not want to listen because sometimes poetry is kind of like the truth. People don't want to hear it, right? But the theme is about the indigenous culture, the part of that belongs to the Mexicans themselves, and it's just stuff like that. It's more concrete. That before I was writing like in high school, after the love poems came and went, I was writing like dark stuff, goth stuff, I guess, and I guess you can call it speculative, but I was like, it's not going anywhere. I'm just like darkness here, and this, that, and the other. But more mainly, it's about more. It's about say it from my point of view, and I've been also writing what I call alternate history. So I said, what if it happened this way? What if Cortez actually dies, and the indigenous culture continues and grows and does those kind of things. They call it indigenous futurism and Chicano futurism is basically what I focus on now. So absolutely, my name and my themes. So sometimes my name's not easy to say, especially with a lot of my lighter complected poets that try to say my name. But also when it comes to, I notice, and I know people don't want to say it, but you do notice it, with certain prizes, certain, things, journals and stuff will accept people like on name basis only. And then you throw a name like mine, Juan Manuel Pérez, and it kind of like put the brakes on. Hold on a second. A lot of times for them to accept me, they have to hear me. So I go and basically go. I have to do a lot of open mics, and now I get invited to read, but they have to listen to me before they say, okay, well, okay, I understand it now. We want to include you now. But before, it's like it took forever for me to get into some of these general things that I wanted to get into. But it's basically, just trying to beat that door and say, hey, I'm a poet too. Just because my name sounds funny to you, and just because I write different things about, that you don't write about, it's still poetry. So yeah, that's it. Whew, keep at it. I've been doing this since what, junior high. I actually published my first poem in '96, and then my first book in 2006, and it's been a gradual thing. And now it's like they come. It's like hard to maintain these ideas to try to create books. I have one in my hand here, for example, but it's just perseverance. I mean, you got to keep. You're gonna be told no, 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 no a million times. you know, and it hurts, right? But you keep at it, and eventually they say, okay, let me look at it. All right, oh yeah, okay, we'll take it. So, but it's just keeping at it. And some people give up. I've seen a lot of people that were poets that they're not poets anymore, or at least they're not practicing poets. They just gave up. So I can't take it anymore. People don't want to publish my stuff. It's like sometimes you're gonna have to self-publish too. You know, I have some of those. I got self-publications, and then I have the main company publications, and I have, you know, back and forth. So you just got to keep doing it. So if you want to think, you know, be considered practicing poet, you know, so you're gonna be told no a million times, you know, and unless you're some miraculous words that baffles everybody, and they say, hey, we want to hear this stuff, it's gonna take a little bit for you to get in there. And some people do get in there, you know, the first shot. Depends on what it is they're talking about, the theme of their book or whatever, or the theme of the poem. And then a lot of times there's people that have been at it longer than I have that haven't reached, you know, a certain level that I feel that I've reached, that they're still not there, and you know, trying to say, hey man, come on, let's get up here if that's what they want. And of course I've seen those that they gave up to, and I feel kind of sad because some of them were, you know, pretty good friends and stuff. But I mean I see them on other things, but as far as poetry is concerned, you're gonna have to take the word no a lot, and eventually the yeses are gonna be worth it all. So. This is actually from a book called Screw the Wall, and that came out during COVID. Matter of fact, I said COVID. This is my COVID book, but it's not about COVID. It came out in 2020. It was published by Flower Song Press out of the Valley. And I didn't get to really promote this because, well, I did if I wanted to do Zoom, but this book was meant for a larger audience and the callbacks and stuff like that. But it does have some poems that are not callbacks, and I'll read some of those and let you figure out which one you want to use. So, in the first few poems are about my experience as a migrant worker and my dad, because he went to the 5th grade, and that's as far as he went. He did learn English, but it was really, really mucho. So, anyways, but I'll read a few here. This was called Free. This is the introduction to the book. Free. America, of thee I dream, land of my fathers, land of immigrant forefathers, land of the me, land of immigrant dreams. America, do you cry for me, for what has been done to me, for what we have done to us, brown people, black people, red people, all people? America, land of the free, land of the loving, land of the lost and looking for a way out of this mess. America, I weep for thee. If this 'tis of thee, dare not come again, this Plato's republic dream. America, this America, I dream of thee, forever free, American me. And that poem actually won 2nd place in Austin, one of those competitions they had a while back, way back, about almost 20 years ago. This is called The Onion Picker's Dream. This is actually my dad's dream transferred through me. And anyways, there's always been a distance between me and my father when we're working out in the fields. Actually, me and my other brothers too. He would send us ahead. He said, más adelante, más adelante. Send us ahead so we could pick up more. The more we picked up from the row of onions, the more money the family would make, and that's how we did it. So I used that in this particular case. This is called The Onion Picker's Dream. Distance between me, my father, sacks of onions, fields of sweat, American born, speaking no English, yet well providing for the English speaking world of hand-picked onions for happy American grills. Distance between me, my future, stacks of books, proliferation of papers, Mexican tested, getting on by with English picked up from comic books, where Batman was the first English word spoken. Distance between me, my ethnicity, those hot onion fields so long, long ago, for American classrooms that never, never end, for those that ended many decades ago, abruptly for my onion-picking father. Distance between that boy, this man is what I've made of it, is what I have left to speak for on improving that long distant dream that was originally my father's very own. This one's called Push Farther, my father said. Again, it's adelante in español. But this is in English, though. Push farther, my father said. Under a clear Texas sky, the rain of poverty hit hard. Sacks of onions upon my back, a memory distant, yet not far away. Push farther, my father said. This land will be reconquered, regrown, season upon season upon season, like life since when, then, with onions, onions, and more onions. Push farther, my father said, beyond this fields into others, where I will not be on my knees, where the loose dirt will be under me, not on me, not over me. Push farther, my father said, in the only language he knew. That's why I learned this one, to wield the words that would free me from a lifetime of onion fields. Push farther, my father said. And this is a moment of me in the fields at one time. I am Juan in the fields. I am Juan. I have been born to privilege, work in many migrant fields with my poorly educated parents who allowed me to complete mine. I am Juan. My belly is full of bean and tortillas, fresh early in the summer morning in the sea of undocumented brown people. I am Juan. My ears are rich with the sounds of grunts and groans of the onion cutting scissors bleeding sweet its sour juices. I am Juan. My body constantly cool with my precious Mexican sweat, taking a break to talk to the onions, telling them to make a great feast of themselves. I am Juan. I am Juan of the free. I am Juan of the educated. I am Juan of the privileged. I am Juan in the onion fields. This one's called The Cat from the Other Side of the Tracks. We always lived in the west side. Los Mexicanos viven in the west side. Do you know that cat? That cat from the other side of the tracks where los vatos are all down and all kinds of shades of brown, where poverty is spread a good mile wide like smooth tortillas all around? So you know that cat, can't put any clearer than that. Handcuffed and taken downtown, Chicano the verb, not the noun, because colors speak louder than words, where lineups make minorities frowns. Hell, everyone knows that cat from the west side of the tracks, where the madrecitas are all trying to make you fat with menudos and tamales and that. That cat works every low-paying job around town. Can't really miss him unless you're whack. That semi-elusive cat, that cat from the other side of the tracks where speaking Mexican is a real fact and the good life is all that and the sun shines, yes it shines, on all those cats from the other side of the tracks.